I realized there are too many people that fear for their life on a daily basis. We cannot have that. We have to change it. We, the people of South Africa, need to change it, not our government. We can't just do what is right for us. We have a community. We have to do what's best for the community.
To you, you're watching Visionaries Lounge. Prepare to be inspired. You know how lawyers are often seen as shrewd and deceptive? Well, my guest this evening is an exception to the rule. She is an attorney, she's an entrepreneur, and she's a humanitarian. She also goes over and above the call of duty to try and prevent crime and not just defend criminals. Well, it's a huge pleasure for me to introduce to you Jolene Leeuwner Maritz. It is a huge pleasure to have you with us this evening. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited to be here tonight.
You know, we always love to start a conversation with the very, very beginning.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about your upbringing. Where and when were you born and raised?
Well, I was born in Kroonstad, but we didn't live there for very long. I would say most of my younger years we lived in Pretoria, where my dad is also an advocate at the Pretoria Bar. I also have a sister. She's almost 2 years older than me. She's a medical doctor. And yeah, we started out in Pretoria, and yeah, then my parents, yeah, they realized that they are probably not suited very well, and they got divorced when I was about 7 or 8 years old.
What effect did that have on you?
You know, I think you would be untruthful if you said that divorce does not affect you as a person. It does affect you. It affects how you see things. But I must say, my father found his soulmate very soon after, and he married her, and they're still very happily married today. And having that example of how a happy marriage should be was amazing. And for that, I'm truly grateful. I'm more grateful than anything else.
Talk to me about your relationship with your sister. You were almost twins, or just under 2 years apart.
That's right.
Like twins, yeah.
That's right. That's right. I love my sister immensely. I think we're almost like one. You know, we think the same. We argue the same way. And I lost her to Canada earlier this year. Sure. She emigrated to Canada, and it was one of the most traumatic experiences I think I've had as a person. I
know that had a profound impact on you, but I also want to speak about your dad and his career, because that obviously had an impact on you. He was in the legal profession.
Absolutely.
Did that have anything to do with you becoming a lawyer?
Oh, yes, it did. I mean, he took me into a courtroom when I was 8 years old for the first time, and I remember, I will never forget that feeling. You know, that feeling of justice will prevail.
Oh, wow.
And that still today drives me. I think it was one of the best things he could have done, and if he didn't want me to become a lawyer, I think one of the worst. Yeah. But yes, definitely, I'm definitely driven by that feeling and that experience.
You're one of those people, though, who are very multifaceted, because your dad is a lawyer, your mom was quite the creative, so you also have a bit of that left brain, right brain thing going on, because you dabbled in music.
Yes, I used to sing. I love playing the electric guitar, and I started my own band at Varsity, and it went very well. It was some of the best experiences of my life, and eventually I even opened a stage for Karen Zoid. So I loved it, you know. It was fun while I was doing it, but I am a lawyer by heart, you know. That's my profession. That definitely is what I need to do and what I will be doing.
So much so that you even married a lawyer.
I even married a lawyer. I need someone that understands me, because I am a very driven girl, but so definitely I think marrying a lawyer was the best thing for me as well.
And then you litigate in the house as well.
We litigate a
imagining some dolus eventuales going on there.
We do litigate a little bit, but I think that is a positive. Understanding how we speak and not seeing it as being aggressive is important, I think, when you're a lawyer.
2 little girls.
Yes.
And they have, quote, you said to me, documents. They don't have pieces of paper that they come.
No,
Mom, where's my document?
Yes, when they want to draw, they will ask for a document, not a paper.
And they're 7 and 8.
Yes.
But they're already knowing the lingo, the language.
Very much, very much. And they understand the Constitution. I just, you know, I write some fundamental rights columns for some magazines. And so I do talk about it. And the older one started to read, obviously, and she wants to read my column every month. And she asks me about it, you know. So then one day they have this, well, they call it speeches at school, and I heard her quoting the Constitution, and I had nothing to do with that. So,
oh, wow.
Yes, it was quite amazing. Yes.
That is absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
Because for you, it's more than just a career. It's about justice.
Absolutely. It's about justice. Absolutely. That's what it is.
You're possibly working to make sure that your career becomes extinct as a lawyer, because usually lawyers would be excited if there are more criminals, because that means more clients. But
Yes.
you're doing the opposite. You're working to make sure that less and less people get involved in crime. Speak to us about your humanitarian work.
Yes. So what we've done is this year the No Crime Culture Project was born. And what it is, it's a project aimed at eradicating crime through an emphasis on moral values, norms of conduct. So it's in essence a program of moral and character education.
This is important to develop upright moral thoughts, judgment, and forming sound decision-making ability. Similar discussion forums will be created on social media and incorporated through the television programs.
A part of the program is a justice pageant being launched in December this year, where each contestant will have to visit a school every week and presenting the No Crime Culture Project. So what it is just teaching us why we can't just do what is right for us. We have a community. We have to do what's best for the community. And why? How did we form cities, etc. So there's a general program that will be informally inserted through the justice pageant. Then we have a television program where we have secured Casper de Vries, Mpopops and Jolene Richards as our presenters, where we, on an informal and entertaining basis, we are teaching morality to the public at large. And then on and offline campaigns, and then a very big goal of ours is the video program or the video game that we want to create for children.
It is vital that moral education is expanded to and with the school, parent and teacher combined. By engaging the parents in school and the school with the parents, we become a family-like community.
So it's all about moral regeneration.
That's right. That's right.
And how did that come about?
Well, you know, I was a deputy chairperson of a big daily house at the University of Pretoria when I studied law, and there I met a lot of political figures, the youth leader, DA youth leader then, she's now a shadow minister, and we became good friends, and I was contemplating entering politics at that point, but realized that I didn't have solutions. And from that point onwards, I also knew that I have to start thinking of solutions in bettering South Africa. And that's where the seed was planted for this program, but where it actually came to fruition was when my sister moved to Canada, and I realized I've lost such an important part of me. We have to do something now.
Because she moved not only because of economic conditions, but also very largely on crime, because of crime.
Because of crime.
Yeah.
She has two little children, and she fears for their lives, you know, and I realized there are too many people that fear for their life on a daily basis. We cannot have that. We have to change it. We have to change it. We, the people of South Africa, need to change it, not our government. We need to change it. We need to change how we view each other.
I love it. I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And what I love even more, the results of that decision that you took to stand up and do something. When we come back, we'll speak about the accolades and the successes of venturing out into the great unknown and deciding to be the change that you want to see. All that and more in just a moment. Stay with us. Welcome back. Jolene Leeuwner Maritz is our guest this evening. She is an attorney. She's an entrepreneur. She's a humanitarian. She's a founder of quite a number of initiatives, and successfully so. Jolene, I'm going to ask you to just bring us up to speed with your accolades, because there are just way too many for me to memorize in one go. But you're doing exceptionally well.
Yes, our firm is doing well. The law firm my husband and I have started. So we've won from, I think, 2011, 2010, we won our first Business Advocate of the Year award, law firm, Best Professional Services through different business chambers. We were also nominated for a Business of Peace Awards in Oslo, Norway. Sure. And then last year in October, I received the Business Woman of the Year award by the South African Chamber of Commerce and Industry. Yes.
Would you say you are someone who has either a lot of time on their hands? I think you maybe have 26 hours while the rest of us have 24 hours, because you're doing quite a lot. You also, as an entrepreneur, are working together with your mom, doing design, graphic design?
Yeah, so I am the CEO of ULA Designs. I've studied graphic design as well. I'm the CEO of Leeuwner Consult Academy, the Justice Pageant, and also the No Crime Culture Project. With the ULA Designs, what we're doing, my mom is doing the art, physically painting it, and I'm doing graphics, and we're putting it on handbags, and we have our own beauty range and so forth. It's still fairly new, but we're doing well, yes.
When do you do all of this? Where do you find the time?
I work hard, I won't lie. I work long hours. I work every night till about 12 o'clock. And then between 6 and 8 in the evenings, that's my husband and my children's time. Yeah. But I work 2 days. But I love it.
You also do pro bono legal advice.
That's right.
You go to your shopping centers and malls and also write the column.
Yes, yes. So we have a pro bono stand every month, one pro bono stand in Johannesburg in one of the malls, and then we give free legal advice. Our teams are on call all the time. They do shifts, our attorneys, and then we do legal advice, give legal advice. It's not really that we are. It's life-changing legal advice, but the amount of people's life we touched with that, just small little pieces of advice as to not worry about certain things and how to approach certain things, that's where we are very impactful.
So access to the law is still quite a problem.
It is a problem, but I can also tell you the Law Society of South Africa and the Northern Provinces specifically are doing a lot in terms of this. I know that there are a lot of pro bono campaigns where the practitioners are forced to do pro bono work every year, a certain amount of pro bono work. So I truly believe that from the profession side, there's definitely that eagerness to change it and to make it more accessible. Definitely. Yes.
In your opinion, and having worked so extensively not only to defend people accused of wrongdoing, but also to prevent people from wrongdoing, what do you think is or are some of the key issues that perpetuate crime in the country?
I really believe, like, the focus of the no crime culture is to eradicate that whole mindset, that whole culture of committing a crime is okay, it's normal. We need to change that, and that for me is the problem. We need to know that we can't jaywalk. We need to know that we need to keep the speed limit. We need to understand that, it's those basic little things that we need to address.
It's like that broken window effect, that if you deal with the small foxes, with the small misdemeanors, it prevents a wider culture of
absolutely, and that is your way of thinking. That is the way of life. That is your philosophy of doing the right thing, because we're in a community and we need to do what's best, what's the common good. And if we do that, we will all thrive.
Now, you've told us about your successes and some of the work that you do, but on a personal level, what are some of the cases, or maybe one or two of the cases that really stand out for you, that having worked on this case, it's just been so complex, you understand the person's background and why they committed the crime, and it's just been one of those that have really, really impacted on your career going forward?
You know what, I'm not a criminal lawyer as such, so just to put that on record. But also, you must understand that even if I did have one or two cases, I wouldn't be able to discuss them with you because of privilege.
Yes.
You know, but I can tell you, every single matter that you deal with, there are complexities and moral issues that impact you and the way you think as a lawyer, definitely. But to go into detail would not be very appropriate.
Why do you think, though, that lawyers have such a bad reputation? That they're always out to get you, that they're crooks, etc., etc. It is a bit of a perception that we get, because on the one hand, there are liberators and they can get us out of a sticky situation, but many people feel hard done by, and you can't trust a lawyer, is what they say.
You think, you know, I think that lawyers tend to follow the rule of law, and I don't think the public always understands our legislation that well. So they might perceive the lawyer as being crooked while he's just following the form of the law. And I think that's also where there's a lot of misunderstanding. And you must remember, there are two sides to a case. Both of us think we are right.
Yeah.
So if you lose, you think you have a bad lawyer, you know, as opposed to having the facts not being in your favor, you know, so it's a tricky one. I think lawyers, I haven't really experienced that there are unethical lawyers, I must say. I think they follow the rule of the law, they get technical, and then that to people can be a bit of both.
And do you think maybe the prying eye of the media has affected the way things are done in terms of the legal system? I mean, you broadcast these big cases and everybody now thinks they've got all the facts before them, and they are the judge, and they are the jury. I said we don't have one in South Africa, but then we make up our minds.
Yes, absolutely, they do. You know, the media plays a role, and the media, as they rightly should do, tries to convey the message, but unfortunately it's not always all the facts as it is before the court.
We'll have to leave this conversation here, at least for now, because I want to know, what are your plans going forward? Earlier on you said you didn't want to go into politics because you didn't have solutions. I have a feeling that you've got one or two plans up your sleeve in terms of you know, changing some of the situations that we see in the country. I want to talk about that in just a moment, so do stay with us. Welcome terug. I thought I should throw in some Afrikaans in here just for good measure this evening. Our guest is an attorney, she's an entrepreneur, she's a humanitarian. It's a huge pleasure to have her with us today because I'm just learning so much. Jolene, I suppose if it was all work and no play, it would make you a rather dull lady. So I see your electric guitar that is polka dots, so it's girly but bad at the same time. Do you still play?
I do play, not as often as I would like to, but I do. It's very relaxing, you know. I love it. Music's, I think it's in your soul, you know.
So are you a gentle, do you strum gently, or do you go like...
No, I like the grunge sound, so I like it more hard, you know.
Very interesting, I tell you, because I can't see you doing that now, because you're all lovely, ladylike, and speaking about all wonderful things. But there is a side to you that you just want to let loose, I suppose.
Absolutely right. You know, I love music. I love making music, and it makes me, you know, relax. So, and of course, I'm very serious. I'm a very serious person, and I'm a lawyer. But I also love music, and I love playing music, and then I relax.
I think that's important because you need balance. I'm looking at that pura. We call it a pura, the robe there, right, and that says to me like you mean business when you're wearing it. It's very serious. Please may I say, do you know I always had dreams of being a lawyer. So maybe if I touch that robe, then I can at least have lived out my aspirations just for 10 seconds.
I think so. Yeah. I think you'd enjoy it.
So when you're wearing this, you're thinking about the well-being of the country, the case that's before you. It's quite a huge responsibility.
Staying ethical, absolutely, and true to the rule of law, and true to you know what is just and right. That's definitely what's important. You protect your client you know, before you know. Being a lawyer, you need to really understand why you're doing it. For me, that's important, and as I said to you, justice must prevail.
And to the young ones who come after you, no doubt, the kids that you interact with, that you mentor, and that you try to teach how to behave morally and ethically, they sometimes come to you and say, we want to be lawyers. What do you say to them?
I think that's important. We need educated and dedicated lawyers in this country, and that's important. But you need to understand, if you're a woman, for instance, what you trade for it, because it's a very stressful industry. You know, and as women, we tend to be soft. But not that I'm saying that means you can't be a good lawyer. You can be a good lawyer. Just be aware of what it entails.
What does it entail?
It's a lot of stress, and you know, especially, let's say you want to become an advocate, there's a lot of litigation, so that means fighting in court, arguing a lot, you know, and that takes its toll, you know, on a person, definitely. But I'm not saying it's definitely because you're female. I think in general, on a man or a woman, fighting continuously, because that's what you're doing, fighting for what is right, is hard. It takes a toll on you.
And I think one needs to know this going into it, because we have these grand ideas, having watched Law and Order and Ally McBeal. You're just like, I'm going to go there in my power suit and my pura, and I'm just going to knock him dead. No. But it's a lot of work, emotionally as well.
It's a lot of work. It's a lot of preparation. Be ready to work hard. And if you want to be a good lawyer, you need to work hard. You know?
Now, if you want to be a good lawyer and a good mom and a good wife as well, I take it that's like double the amount of work.
It is, you know, but I've got a very good support system. You know, I've got an incredible husband. He is the most supportive man in the world. You know, being a lawyer himself, he understands, you know, how hard it is for us. So he does a lot. I've got good au pairs. I've got, my family are there all the time. My father is so supportive. Being an advocate, you know, I rely a lot on him, you know, mentally. But so now I've got a good support system that helps me.
And what would you like your daughters to take from their experiences with you? What do you want them to learn from you?
The same lesson I think I learned from my father, and that is be just, be good, and be kind, you know? Yeah.
What more is there to do? I know you're very, very busy working on your projects. So what does the next, say, 5 to 10 years have in store for you?
Definitely, you know, I think through the No Crime Culture Project, there's an international institution that governs moral education. And there's about 35 member states globally. South Africa, unfortunately, is not one of them, because it's mostly first world countries that's members. I'd not only like for South Africa to be one of their members, I'd like for us to be the leaders in moral education, because then I believe we will open up a channel for globally for other countries to do business with us.
What's on your to-do list or your bucket list for you personally? I don't want to talk about the family. I don't want to talk about the projects now, because they're very important, but you need to refill your tank as well, so you can keep on having that energy. What's on your personal to-do list?
Next year, I'd like to focus a lot on my health. You know, with the birth of my 2 girls, I did pick up a lot of weight, you know.
Tell me about it.
You know? So I think next year I would like to focus a bit on my own health, just getting to the... I love it. You know, I used to play netball. Even last year I played Super League netball, and this year I couldn't. I didn't have even a moment to do that. And I'd like to get back into that. That would be nice.
And I think once you've laid all the foundations and you've started planting the seeds, then it grows, and you have a good network of people who can run with that vision as well.
Absolutely.
You'll have a little bit more time to yourself.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And then we'll have a cup of tea.
Absolutely.
And I can wear your pura.
Yes.
It's a deal. It's been such a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much. All the best for your work up ahead, and thank you once again.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, and thank you so much for joining us. I trust you've learned a lot from this episode, and going forward that we can apply some of those principles. Memo to self, for me, stick to the speeding limit. That is also very, very important. Not just the big crimes, but also the little ones, because that's also an important one to look out for. So thank you so much for joining us. Have yourself a fabulous evening. See you again next week.
I strongly believe that one should not fit into a mold that society wants you to fit in. But in the same breath, I believe it's very important to take and ask for criticism, and then learn from it and adapt. That's what I believe in, and that has worked for me. Thank you for joining us tonight. Goodbye.